Have you ever had that feeling where you're just drowning in data, but you can't seem to find any actual insights? Yeah, that's a huge problem, and it's exactly what we're going to talk about. We're going to go from total chaos to crystal clarity in this explainer on data engineering.
So let's just jump right in with a big question. Why is most company data kind of useless? I know, it sounds a little harsh, but for so many businesses out there, it's the absolute truth when they first get their hands on it.
And this slide, this really shows you why. On the left, you've got the reality for most companies, raw data. It is scattered all over the place, it's often incomplete, and it's in a bunch of messy, different formats. But what every business actually needs is what's on the right, usable information. Something that's organized, easy to get to, and all set up for analysis. That huge gap between the two? Well, that's where data engineering comes in.
So let's go ahead and give this problem an official name. We're talking about data chaos. And really understanding this chaos is the very first step we have to take before we can even think about fixing it.
This chaos is coming from what you could call a data deluge. I mean, just look at this list of sources. Every single click on a website, every tap inside a mobile app, every little piece of data from a sensor, every single transaction, data from other companies, it's just a constant, massive flood of information coming from everywhere, and none of it speaks the same language. It's a mess. So, how in the world do you tame this wild flood of data and actually turn it into something useful? Well, that brings us to the hero of our story today, the solution that brings order to all that chaos, data engineering.
Okay, let's get a really clear definition down. Data engineering is all about building these super reliable systems. You can think of it like the plumbing of the data world that collect, store, and prepare all that raw data. It's the work that transforms it into organized, accessible information that you can actually use to make smart business decisions.
And this is so important. The key thing to understand is that data engineers are the ones enabling everyone else. They are the unsung heroes building that solid foundation. Without their work, the data analysts, the data scientists, and all the business leaders, well, they just can't do their jobs effectively.
All right, so we get what data engineering is, but how do they actually do it? What's the secret sauce? Well, a huge part of the magic happens through a core process known by a very simple but very powerful acronym, ETL.
ETL. It stands for extract, transform, and load. It's a really straightforward three-step process. First, you extract all that raw data from those different sources we talked about. Second, you transform it. This is where you clean it up, combine it, and get it ready. And finally, you load it into a single, central place where it's ready for analysis.
This table breaks it down perfectly. You've got the extract step, where the whole purpose is just to get the data. The output, a bunch of messy, raw data. Then you move to transform, where the goal is to make it consistent. And what comes out? Nice, clean, structured data. And finally, the load step is all about storing it for use, giving you that super valuable, organized data that's ready for reports.
To make this less abstract, think of it this way. A real-world task for a data engineer might sound just like this. Okay, I need you to pull all the customer purchases, combine that with the shipping data we have, and then load it up so the business intelligence team can analyze it. See? That's a perfect little example of an ETL job in action.
Okay, enough theory. Let's see how this all comes together in the real world. We're going to walk through a classic example, an e-commerce success story, so you can see ETL really doing its thing.
So every project starts with a business need, right? In this case, an online store needs daily sales reports. And this isn't a nice to have. They need this information to make really critical day-to-day decisions about what to stock and where to spend their marketing dollars.
So phase one is all about extracting the mess. The data pipeline automatically goes out and pulls yesterday's orders from one database, it grabs customer info from a completely different system, and then it gets product details from yet another inventory database. The key here is that at this stage, it's all separate and disconnected.
Now we get to phase two, transforming for meaning. This is where the real value gets created. The system joins all those separate pieces of data together. It calculates brand new things, like total revenue for each product category. It figures out the top selling items, and, this is super important, it cleans out all the junk, like test orders or transactions that got canceled.
And finally, we have phase three, loading the results. All that beautiful, clean, processed data gets moved into the company's main data warehouse. From there, it gets connected to visualization tools. This makes it instantly available for the dashboards and reports that the business teams can actually use to make decisions.
And this is the whole point. This is the payoff. This wasn't just some tech exercise. It has a direct, tangible business impact. Now the marketing team can make smarter ad buys. The inventory team can optimize their stock levels so they don't run out of popular items. And the leadership team can track their revenue goals pretty much in real time. This is what data-driven decision-making actually looks like. And it's all powered by data engineering.
So that e-commerce example was great for seeing it in action. But let's zoom out for a second. What's the bigger picture? What's the broader impact that a data engineer really has on a company? Well, this right here shows the entire flow of data through a company. You can think of it as the data pipeline architecture. And data engineers, they are the architects of this whole thing, responsible for everything from the original source systems all the way to making sure the end users can actually consume the final product. And their job doesn't just stop once that first ETL process is built. Not at all. They are constantly developing and automating these pipelines. They're always monitoring the data quality to make sure it's trustworthy. They're optimizing performance so everything runs quickly. And they're always collaborating with the analysts and scientists who rely on that data.
I think this quote just sums it up perfectly. Data engineering is the invisible infrastructure that powers every data-driven decision in modern companies. It's that critical behind-the-scenes work that makes everything else possible. It's the foundation of everything.
So, we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. It's pretty clear that raw data by itself is just noise. But when you apply the right engineering, that noise can turn into a powerful story. So the real question is, what hidden story is your data waiting to tell?